Welcome, everyone. My name is Jeff St. Laurent, and as you can see, I have an awesome guest in the waiting room, fired up and ready to go. But before that, I help coaches transition to a full-time business. This is one of them who has a full-time coaching business now. We're going to talk about and celebrate a big success of hers today. If you want to join my community, check out my website, sellingcoaching.com. I have a ton of great resources there in my university. And then if you want to start and join my community, right on the homepage, I've got a great resource where you can enter your name and email, become a part of that community, also get great weekly strategies, tips, ideas, and stay up to date on what I'm doing that I can help you transition to full time. But without any further ado, Coco, welcome to the show again. Or
Yes,
welcome back, right?
Welcome back. Yes, great to be back. Thank you so much, Jeff, for having me.
Oh, it's so exciting. And today we're going to be highlighting this cool little thing here. Not little, actually. It's like, it's a real book. Like this is your latest and greatest success. But before we get into the book, I really want to highlight, for the coaches who watch this, the journey to get here. Just rewind us back to, we ended up working together in my 5-month group program a couple of years ago, actually.
Yes.
And, talk about like your journey to date in a snapshot, just so people get a feel for, not just where you are now, but where you've come from. And then we can get into the book.
100%. Absolutely. Yes. Well, we worked together at the pretty beginning of my full-time coaching journey.
Yes.
And so I left corporate. I was in corporate America for almost 20 years. And eventually I found this calling, right? That's how many coaches come to this profession. It's really through my own personal growth and my personal journey. I came to this work. And then that's where I found, oh, you know what? This is what I'm meant to be doing versus making more money for big corporations.
Yes.
And so I quit. I was June of 2023, so almost 3 years ago. And then the first, I would say, few months was honeymoon, and I would call it like ignorant kind of optimism, right? It was just like, oh, okay, now I'm free and I get to do whatever I want to do, and I can make 100K in 1 year, right? Super unrealistic but very optimistic. And then I did it for a few months on my own. And I followed actually your online course because you're teaching with IPAC. So I graduated from IPAC coaching program. So I already followed every single steps that you recommended for a new coach. And setting up the website, setting up your offer, setting up your niche. I did all of that. I was like, okay, I'm good to go. So I tried it on my own. So then I would say, 4 months in, I was like, I'm going nowhere with this. This is so much harder than I thought. I thought once I announced it on LinkedIn, send out a few emails, people are just going to flock to me. A couple of people come. I would say 2-3 people came. That was about it. I'm like, this is way harder than I thought. So the first person I thought of to reach out to get guidance and support, it was you. And then I worked with you for 5 months. I think that was really the process of, I realized I was so afraid to put myself out there. The visibility piece, right? That's a huge, huge piece. It's not about coaching. I thought I was already a decent coach back then. But it's really about talking about what I do, how I help people. It was so uncomfortable, and even just didn't know how to go about doing it. And I think just your support and your guidance and your belief in me just really kind of like nudged me off the edge, and I was able to just go from there and just pretty much nonstop ever since.
That's the biggest thing, Coco. And not to interrupt, but like you said, like it's the visibility piece, right? And I remember with that first event you did at your home, it was like, that was a big turning point for you. And after that, it's like, you just realized like, wow, I can do this well. And you were nonstop.
Yes, exactly. It's just the first initial step, and then gradually more and more, because it's now, I think in my book we'll talk more. It's so much about nervous system safety, right? Because it
Yes.
wasn't safe before for me to be visible. It just wasn't safe, because visibility meant to me was trouble. I will get into trouble. Whenever I get called by my parents or get called by teachers or get called out in a group situation, usually meant I was in trouble. I'm like, please don't call me out. Let me hide, right? Let me hide. Hiding is safer. So I think a lot of people carrying that kind of programming, conditioning. So that's I would say most difficult thing for me. Also, what I heard, what I saw is also the most difficult for many coaches as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you were rocking it, and now you are putting yourself out there. You're doing events, you're getting clients, you're getting paid for what you do. Now let's bring in the book, right? So at what point were you like, I'm going to write a book?
Yeah, very interesting. Actually, the idea came actually 2 weeks after I quit corporate job. The idea came, but I didn't do anything about it. How did the idea came? Also came out of nowhere, out of surprise. It was a friend of mine. He quit his corporate career from Google, and he wrote a book. And I met him on a rooftop in Fort Lauderdale, where I live. And we were just catching up, having a casual conversation, and he just talked about his book. In that moment, somehow I just got inspired. And it just came out of my mouth. I was just like, I'm gonna write my book. Just blurt it out, completely like surprise myself. I'm like, I never had this dream, right? There's some people always had the dream, and I want you to write a book one day. I'm like, I never had that, never ever. But in that moment, I just noticed that, and I just hold it in. I didn't know when I'm going to do it, but I just knew I wanted to do it at some point. And then I realized, looking back, why. It's also related to visibility and all of that. Because growing up, I was so afraid to, for instance, raise my hands in class. I was just so afraid to speak up and express myself. And when I was growing up, also my Chinese teacher always critiqued my essays, saying that this is not very good.
Right.
Right. I always thought I was like not a very good writer. I don't know how to express myself eloquently. And with that, I pretty much silenced myself for all those years. Really just silenced myself. I think in that moment, it was just recognizing, a part of me wanted to express, just want to share my stories, and also believe that my story are worthwhile or important enough to share, that I believe all people will want to read my stories. And so I would say that's the little seed planted. But I didn't do anything until, I would say, probably at least a year later. But because I planted the seed, so it was always, just like pay attention to it, but there's an opportunity anyhow. So somehow through the speaking program, I got into very, very serious, like professional speaking and all of that. And one of the workshops they offered was, you can write a book in 30 days.
Right.
So for me, it was a part of me, because I know, writing a book, I'm not sure I have a year or 3 years or whatever to write a book. That sounds just too much commitment. I'm not sure I have that. But 30 days, that seems to be doable. So it's a part of me, just efficiency and shortcut version of looking for that, like sign up for that. So in that program, the 3 days workshop, I'm very much just dumping all my stories on the paper and did a lot of writing. I think in that process, I was like, I'm not sure I can actually create a book in 30 days, but I think I can do this thing. At least I took the first step, right? Started writing versus just in the back of my mind. I'm like, I want to do this thing, right? So many of us, I want to do this thing. You never take the first step. So I think that was really like the baby step that I took, and just wrote a lot of things. And then in that process, it gave me a little bit confidence. It's like, oh, maybe I can do this thing. So I didn't end up working with the editor, that particular editor. And then I find another program and publishing program. And it helped me basically end to end, because I realized, oh, me as a first time author, and before that, I never really wrote much to begin with. I really want a support system, right? Just like how you guided me through my first step into this full-time coaching journey. And I wanted this support system, like guide me through this first, birthing my first book. and that's how it unfolded. And now 3 years later, right, from the initial seed, and now 3 years later, and the book is here.
The book is here. Yes. So a couple things I want to highlight, which is really important, is you silenced yourself.
Yeah.
So you just kept telling yourself that whatever you had wasn't valuable enough, not good enough. Who's going to want to hear that? And so it was the work you did within yourself to be able to recognize, to get you to the point where you felt safe enough to begin to express.
Yeah.
I love how you said that. And that's what a lot of people, just never mind writing a book, but the biggest challenge with coaches in general with the marketing is the exact same thing, is they don't believe that their story is valuable enough. So they don't share. And that's everything that who we're helping comes from our story, as you know.
Yes, absolutely. Exactly. And also that's the thing, right? You don't need to have everything figured out to help people, as long as you are a couple of steps ahead of people, and then that's how you can help. And also because we live in our own experiences, a lot of times we normalize our experiences and we minimize it. We're like, oh, that's no big deal, everybody can do it. But in reality, it's no. The fact that you are on this path and you have chosen to become a coach, and you did all the hard work, not just learning a professional skill, but also work on yourself, that alone is super incredible and super valuable. And they're actually, in a grand scheme of things, look around, it's very rare. Very, very rare. It's a small percentage of people actually do that work. So that means you can help a lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you talk a little bit about the process, to getting to this book, in terms of how you're managing your time, of the writing process and all the pieces? There's a lot of pieces that go into it, but also, your personal life, but then also there's managing a full-time coaching business as well. How do you maintain your marketing, as I call it, your phase 1 marketing, phase 2, staying on top of people? Talk about that journey a little bit, because it's great. We have a nice shiny book and everyone's like, oh, wow, what's the work involved? So for those coaches out there, they're like, oh, I got a book in me, I want to write a book. Talk about the realities of that, because you've been really good at, it's not just all this shiny, bright, oh, it's fun and exciting.
Oh yeah, no, not at all. That's the thing. If I had known
right,
publishing book would take so much, I don't know if I would have done it. Obviously, I'm so proud, right? I've done it, but it was so much more than I initially anticipated. The whole process took almost 2 years, and just from just briefly explaining the different phases of the work. Start with just say, oh, what do I want to write about? And what are the outlines, the chapters? Like you spend so much time just thinking, because for me, right, it's a basically part memoir and part guidebook, but it's really through my stories, and I teach people and the tools and skills to transform their lives. So I was still in the process of transforming myself, right? So I'm trying to write something that's work in progress to begin with. It wasn't something said and done 5 years, 10 years ago. Now I'm just going back and then to recollect, right, the memories, but literally shaping it as I'm living it. That was just so difficult. So actually, my initial idea of how I structure a book completely changed from actually the end, completely changed. But still, you want to spend that time at the beginning, just ideation is like, what do you want to write about? Who you're trying to serve? What problem you're trying to solve? Right? What is the value of this book? That's like 3 months process. Then after that, then it's just writing, just like literally dumping all the ideas, right? All my stories, and the way that metaphor I like to use is almost like the clay, right? Before we shape into a beautiful sculpture, it's literally just get all the clay out, dump it on the table, right? Just all of that. How do you call it, that word? It's excavation. Right? It's very much like digging from the bottom of my heart, from the deepest part of my brain. Get it all out. And then once that is out, have some structure, but not fully structured. Then I put it on side. Actually, I went into marketing phase, pre-sold the book. That's where you supported me, right? That's where 150 people supported me. That marketing process was 4 months. I sold almost 200 copies of the book, but it is exactly, it's a testing of visibility, comfortable asking for help and support, and especially this about asking for money. This is not support, just like, hey, you send me a nice message. No, it's literally people need to get out their wallet to
buy the book.
Buy the book when they don't even know what the heck the book is. A kind of an idea, but not really, right? It's really just asking people to vote for me, just truly trust in me. That takes a lot of courage to do. You know, it was very uncomfortable at the very beginning. I was like, oh, what if rejection, right? Fear of rejection. We all have that. I'm like, what if they say no? What if they don't want to support me? What if they ultimately it's like, oh, what if they think I'm not worthwhile to support? But yes, to be honest, in the process, there's some friends I hoped they would support. They didn't. But at the same time, I also was so pleasantly surprised that people who barely even knew me, only saw me a couple of times, they supported me. You know, I'm like, that's life. Right? Just going through that phase is a huge personal growth. Now I feel so much more comfortable asking without taking it personally. Because it's not just about me. Because I know I'm going to put out a good book, a decent book, right? I know that. But whether that the other person willing or not willing is not up to me. But I need to be the one feeling comfortable to ask.
Yes.
And then once that phase is done, then I'm back to writing and editing. So now this time all the clay are out there that I need to shape into beautiful sculpture. And that's when I completely restructured the whole book, completely restructured it. And that was the most painful part of it. So painful because it requires so much thinking. What makes sense to the readers? It's not just, oh, I did this and this and this. It helped me, blah, blah, blah. It's like, how can it be accessible, digestible, also scientifically makes sense because the work I do is very science-based, right? It was just so much going on there. And then eventually, exactly done. And then we get into creative part of it. Design the cover. That I thought was an easy decision. Hell no. I did like 20.
Hard, isn't it?
So hard. 20 editions. It's the cover. I'm pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. But I was like, am I perfectly happy with this? No, I'm not. But I have to be a point of like, you know what? Enough. Good enough is enough. Good enough is enough. Let me just get this out.
Yes.
Right. And then now out and like celebrating it and promoting it, celebrating it also was a hard part for me because I immediately got triggered once this is done. I opened the book. I already knew certain parts already changed, right? Me already changed, or the understanding of certain things has already changed. And already got in some cover time, got triggered, inner critic got triggered. It's like, oh, this could have been better. This book could have been better. This book is not perfect. I'm not sure you should celebrate. You could have done better. Yeah, I felt that way until I was like planning. I'm like, you know what? I need to celebrate. I really want to say I should really be proud of, because more people reading the book, more people telling me how great it is and all of the how impactful it is, then really strengthen this desire to celebrate. So I did. I had a in-person book launch party last Sunday. It was a blast. Truly, truly, truly. I just really just allowing myself to feel the love, that from people who have been in my corner, have been with me on this journey from the very beginning. So anyhow, that's a long way to to say this is a long process. It's a long process, and it's hard. It's super hard. So every week I would, especially the heavy writing days, 7 to 8 hours every single week. And the only time I could have, right, with everything else going on, right, coaching business, marketing, blah blah blah, it was on the weekend. I would just sit 2 days straight in writing. And there were there days I really didn't want to do it 100%. I was like, why did I sign up for this? What the heck? I truly sometimes regretted that decision. But the fact that I have this clear why I'm doing this, right? This is important to me. At the same time, also have all these people already paid money supporting me. I have to deliver something. Right? That's a good pressure to have. And also I have a support system, which I have editors and I have marketing coordinators. All those people have weekly check-in with me. So I would never show up in a meeting, say I'm not prepared, or say, oh, I didn't do the work. That's not me, right? So with all these three in place, my why, my people, and my support, that's how I got it done. Yes. But I'm saying it's not easy at all, right? If you want to do this thing, it's so worthwhile, but you really need to make sure that you're committed to this. You're committed to this.
Yeah, your message is so real, and it's just like your coaching business. It's the same thing. It's not easy. It's going to take a long time. It's going to be, different than you think it is, or want it, or hope it to be. Same thing with the book, right? So it's the why and the commitment to it is so vitally important. And I love how you portray things, right? And in the time frame, right? Whether it takes 2 years, 3 months, 3 years. I've had people do all different time frames. But that just goes into the testament of like how you made it work for yourself. And now you have the final product.
Yes.
So let's take a moment to talk about the book, because what I really enjoyed about it myself was, and as I hear you talking about it, your thought process, it shows in the book. And for an average person reading it, it's going to show, because it flows so nicely. The sequence of it, you talked about rearranging it, but how you really share your story. And that's why I love it. Like right away, it's just like, oh, she's going right into her story. I love it. And then it sets the tone. And then the science, right? The science behind feeling safe, and the neurology and how our body works. I appreciated that because I have a background in exercise science, physiology, and all those pieces. But you share it in such a way that it's like too applicable of how we show up in ourselves. And you just explained it really, really well. And that set the stage for all the skills and teachings that you give afterwards. So I just think it was done really, really well. And it's just super helpful. That's my take of it in a real short version.
Yes.
And it's actually was kind of cool listening, because going through the book myself, I was like, yeah, that's exactly what she did. But it's so effortless when you read it. It like the parts are supposed to be where they're supposed to be, because there's a flow to it. Talk, and you've alluded to it a little bit in what you shared already, but just briefly talk through like the book. What are you teaching? Unchecking the boxes. But tell us just briefly 100%. About the concepts, and then obviously where people can get a signed copy.
Yeah, 100%. Well, so really this book, I now call it is my journey from being a good girl to a badass.
Right?
It's exactly. And I was even though I looked like a badass on outside 5 years ago before I started this journey, right? and making $400,000 a year in a big corporation job, right? Leading a big team, running big business, all of that. But inside, I was like making myself so small, I didn't even realize. And so this book is really about this, what I have done, and to really go from there, making myself small, scared all the time, so much fear, and always feels like I needed to prove and perform and please other people, right? And be accepted by other people, all of that. To today, it's truly about how can I be true to myself? Like, who am I? What do I want? And what makes me feel alive? And that become truly, that's what authenticity is, right? A lot of people say authentic. What does it mean, authentic? Authentic is that. Once you become authentic, I realize once I become authentic, I become not only feel so much calm and alive in myself, and also I have become so much more loving to other people, because now I have the capacity to love. Even though I have always been this caring person, but 5 years ago, I wasn't loving at all. The way I showed up, I would always be short-fused. I was very reactive. And I came home to my partner, I bossed him around. He told me, like, why you always like to talk the way like you are talking to your employees? I was like, am I? I didn't even know I was doing that. So that's the difference. Is now I have the capacity to be present with my friends and family. And then now I can listen, not try to fix them, right? Used to be just like, need to fix you, because if I don't fix you, I'm not gonna be okay. So then this 5 years, I've learned so much. Then what I realized, I come down to the essential steps based on science. So if we can do those things, and if we can do this foundational essential steps, then it will be so much more effective to go from a good girl to badass versus like what I tried everything under the sun, right? The first couple of years was all talk therapy. It was tremendously helpful, but it reached the limit. Also, I did a lot of mindset coaching, right? That was helpful. But then also tried, well, I even went to psychedelic, right? Ayahuasca. I did ayahuasca. I did everything you could imagine to heal me. But only until I started doing nervous system regulation work and the body-based work, body-based parts work, and a couple of other things I mentioned, my life, I feel differently. I feel completely differently. So that's really what the book is about. It's like I outlined clearly the 4-step process. First is safety, nervous system safety. It's that you cannot think your way out of anxiety. You cannot think your way out of procrastination. You cannot think your way out of, I'm afraid of visibility, because it's all in your body, your system telling you it's not safe. It's not safe until you learn there are simple tools and very simple body-based tools to calm your nervous system in real time. That's the first and most important essential step. And that's the first chapter of the book. And then the second is I call it rewire, right? Rewire conditioning, very much a rewire good conditioning, right? What is good conditioning is like, be quiet, be agreeable, right? Don't say no to people, and put others first, and right, all of those things we learned since we were young. And we learned those things. We were not born that way. I always look at like the babies and the nature as reference. Do you think a baby would, when they're hungry, they're like, let me be quiet. Let me wait till the mommy gets more relaxed, have more time. Then I'm gonna ask her for milk. No, when the baby needs milk, guess what? What they do? They cry, right? They immediately visible. If they're not visible, how could you even know their needs? But we learn to suppress. we learn to suppress the needs. People are like, oh, it's not safe. It's not safe to ask for help. It's not safe to ask for support. It's not safe to express this is how you want to be treated. And it's truly about understanding those are the programming, conditioning we learned since we were young. And then we need to go back and to repair that, to make the younger parts of us to feel safe to express our needs, to feel safe, to be seen, to be heard, to be held, to be loved, and to be accepted. And that's the second part of the work. It's not just talking about the past, but really through our experiential, the work, right, the parts work to go back and establish that sense of trust and safety. Then the third part is also, I realize so many, especially high achieving women do, is that we minimize our success. And then we downplay our strengths. And we think like, no big deal, right? It's like, before people would say, Coco, you're so incredible. Grew up poor in China in a small little town and learned to speak English at 20 and come to the US and climbing the corporate ladder. I was like, oh, no big deal. Everybody can do it. Or it's like, hell no. Not really. Hell no. That's the power in me I need to reclaim. I have this incredible sense of drive and ambition not everybody has, right? And I have this incredible ability, just when I want to do something, when I set my mind on something, I just go all in. I go all in. I don't give up. I don't care. When people, even when it comes dancing, that's my passion. People will go 1 class a week. I will go 5 classes a week just to master this thing. It's the same thing with coaching, right? Everything I do. And so that's the thing, like help women to reclaim the power within them, because they become successful. They are successful. There's a reason. There's a reason why. It's not just by accident. It's not just because you're lucky. No, everybody's lucky, but it's how you're capitalized on that luck. It's through the qualities, strengths, and gifts inside of you. So it's truly teach them how to own their power. And then the last one is about realign, meaning that, okay, those are good, right? But that is the thing. Change your identity from this good girl to badass. It's not just one day thing or 1 week retreat. You're fixed. You're done. No, it's a daily decision. It's a daily practice, and it's every single day showing up. Say, hey, how do I want to show up? Right? When I'm activated, do I actually use the tool to regulate myself? Right? That repetition is what truly reshape our identity. And so that, years later, you can feel like you are a different person. That's how I felt because of all the work I've done and because of those further steps I'm taking. So now, truly today, I feel like I'm a freaking badass.
And I'm truly privileged listening to you, because also the person you've become through the work you've done, in contrast to the person that I started working with a couple of years ago, right? To where you were, right? Like, it's unbelievable. And you started coming out of your shell and like understanding your light and your energy and your power and what you've accomplished. And you're like, yeah, that person who came from China and did this, like, hell no, like that was a big deal. And not everyone can do that. And for such a small percent of the pot, everyone is capable.
Yes.
But they're only capable if they're doing things that you're teaching in your book, because they've got to be able to work themselves through that. I'm curious.
I'm curious to ask you. I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm putting you on the spot.
You can.
Like you reflecting on the Coco you saw almost 2.5 years ago. 2.5 years ago versus today. What do you see?
I see this person now who has it's almost just like I saw sparks of her. I saw sparks of this. I could see it in you. And I knew, but I think our first conversation, I'm like, oh my gosh. And I remember like, oh, I really hope she decides to do our group, because I just feel like you had, I saw the attributes inside of like what you were capable of. that I knew you couldn't see at that time.
Time.
And again,
Yeah.
will that, it doesn't mean I
Oh,
can see
yeah.
that. I've seen that in people and nothing's ever translated, you know, because
100%.
that's the work that's going to come from you is, and then when you allowed yourself to do things, and I think that's where when we started working together, you started to allow yourself to do the things where that you had apprehension on. And I knew that those would be the things that would start to chip away at that inner shell that you were kind of keeping yourself safe from.
Safe, yeah.
So when you did your first event, when you started sending emails, like some fundamental things in the business. But I know for a lot of people that I work with in the beginning, it's just like, I know those are the things that are going to start being like, ooh, it's not going to be easy. And it's probably going to be hard, actually. And you're not going to like some of it. Some of it you might like. You actually ended up loving the event, you know, when you did it.
Yes.
And saw something in yourself that you're like, ooh, I like that about myself. And now let me do this more. So you started eroding, if you will, that inner shell, and you started giving yourself that permission. So that was the evolution. And even when we did this, our show last time, I have to look at the date when we did that, but it's easily a year ago.
At least. Yeah, a year and a half,
right?
maybe. Yeah.
And you were like, you were a shining light of like, oh my God, who is this girl? Look at the energy she has. But now, compared to that, you're refined. Like even when you were talking about the book, like I was sitting there listening, I'm like, wow, she's like, this is where when we do events and we talk to people and we, you know, do a video or whatever, all of this stuff you're tapping into, this isn't like memorized. This isn't a speech. You're tapping into an inner knowing. You're tapping into the universe, that you're channeling this information from a knowing of just who you are.
Yeah.
How
Embodiment.
Yes. Great way to say it. You're tapping into that energy and it just flows. And I'm sitting here as I'm thinking and I'm like, this is the maturity that I've seen in myself over the years. I've seen in others who have allowed themselves to stay in the game long enough that I'm like, oh, she's so much more refined and mature. Like before you had this energy and that message was still there.
Yes, but
you probably couldn't say it like you're saying it now, but there were bits and pieces. And to the average person, they wouldn't know the difference. You know, you didn't know the difference. You still had just as much energy, but the way the information and the way you're delivering it and how you're integrating it all, and it's deeper now.
Yes, appreciate the
so
reflection.
Much more refined. Yeah,
for sure, because that's how I felt. What you described is rather someone who is a coach, right? You know, you have such a keen observation. What you observed exactly was how I felt deep inside, right? You know, so it was exactly like at the beginning I was still like a little bit, you know, like shaky and holding back because I was scared. You know, I was like, oh, should I do this? Can I do this? Blah, 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 blah. Right. And the second time it was like, oh yeah, I had more clarity, had more confidence, but inside was still a little bit confused. Exactly how I communicate this, what exactly is happening, you know what I'm saying? And now it's like, and now I have so much more clarity in me. That's why I'm able to communicate outside with more clarity as well.
Yes. It's an inner knowing. And I find that's where a lot of people like hold themselves back with that, but that's the process that you've gone through to get to this spot. And just a quick point of note, like that person a year, 2 years, 3 years ago, that versus the person you are now isn't more valuable than that other person.
No.
It's just differently valuable, right? Yeah. If you compare, you could say, oh, the information that I'm sharing now is so much clearer and more in depth and more mature, etc. But when you're listening to that point, people hear it and go like, wow, this is valuable.
Oh yeah,
you know,
100%,
and so it's
100%.
So for the people that think like, oh, I'm not there yet, or I'm still figuring it out, that's okay, because whatever you're putting out right now is still very valuable.
100%. And also that's the thing, you have to go through that process to get to that point of clarity. There's no way you can jump. I couldn't if I didn't, right? If I didn't meet you at 2.5 years ago, did all the work and felt all the apprehension and did it anyway. And then a year and a half ago, right, it was still keep working on myself and keep doing the work. I would not have being where I am today. There's no shortcut. No shortcut. You just need to be in the game and do the work. Do the work on yourself first. Because the clarity, whatever outside, because as a coach, it's all about the energy, right? It's all about energy. It's how people can they resonate with you. It's less about the exact words you use, but also how you say it. Do you say it in full conviction? Right? Do you say it with the clarity? But the clarity always comes from within. So it's like now really just always go do your own work, and then the rest will follow. The rest will follow.
and so this is where when I listen to you, when someone listens to you now, and they can go, oh, no wonder she's successful, right? When someone listens to you now, who wouldn't want to work with you? Who wouldn't want to be like, who wouldn't want to buy the book? Right?
Mm-hmm.
They're resonating with it and it's connecting with it and they're going, oh my God, and it's hitting them on an emotional level. Who wouldn't be like, what's her website? Let me go there. Let me get this book. Let me talk about working with her, or at least feel that way, whether they take action on it or not. Yes. And that's the thing, is that's our job to get there, is that you said, is get to there where there's no inhibition, where you're just exuding the information. It's just flowing through you with zero resistance. And that's where it is right now, is this information's flowing through you with no resistance. Whereas before it was flowing through you, but with, there was trying and there was effort and there's a lot of conscious and breathing, and nothing wrong with that. That's the process. But now it's just, you're channeling your conduit of the information.
100%. So 100%. Exactly. That's how I pick coaches, right? I picked you, I picked other coaches I've worked with. Is really just to see how they're showing up, right? If I resonate with the way they're showing up, like, okay, I want to get more of that. I want to learn from that person.
Yes. Well, thank you for that. So pulling this together, and I'm going to put this link when we're done as well, but how can someone get a copy of this book and find out more information about you and even working with you?
Oh, 100%. Well, the book, they can buy it anywhere they buy books. And obviously it's Amazon, right? Amazon.com, you can go there. And work with me is that just go to my website, cocoduancoaching.com. You can find all the ways. Well, the way you work with me, really just one-on-one. I only do one-on-one coaching. And but there you can see more information about my coaching approach and everything else about me.
Absolutely. Yes. And I'll put that link in the comments so people have that. Coco, as always, it's just truly been a pleasure. I delight in your success. I delight in your just involvement and brightness. And you're only here to be that conduit for other people. And I'm so excited to see where this goes. This is still only the beginning.
Only the beginning.
I look forward to another appearance down the road, which I know there'll be, where you're just achieving other milestones. And so therefore you can share that with others to help them on their journey. So thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Jeff. And you have been this incredible support and guidance from the very beginning. And I truly, truly feel very grateful. I remember the day that you asked me to do an event. I'm like, what is this event? And then I'm like, I invited friends to my house. I still remember that conversation that we had. I'm just so grateful for you and the support of my book and just along the way. I truly, truly appreciate you. And it's been incredible to have people on my journey. And that's the only way possible, is really to have people support you on the journey.
100%. Awesome. Thank you everyone for watching this. And of course, we'll be back for more in days to come. Thanks everyone. Bye.